create unforgettable moments. Our Lady of Africa Conference Center is located on Likuni Road, about 250 meters from Bypass Roundabout toward
Luntha TV is now on Zuku Channel 51. You can get yourself a Zuku decoder from the Luntha TV offices in Area 2, Lilongwe, and from all the St. Manford bookshops across the country in Kasungu, Lilongwe, Salima, Dedza, Balaka, Zomba, Mulanje, Blantyre, Chikwawa, Mwanza, and Mangochi. For more information, contact 0883 815 055 or 0996 892 965. Get a Zuku decoder today and not miss daily mass, worship and prayers, news bulletins, and so much more on Luntha TV, bringing wisdom into your home.
Digital technology is taking over the world. Trends are changing every day. For the latest technology updates, reviews of tech gadgets, exclusive interviews with tech experts, and an interface with startup companies. Watch Inside Tech and catch every detail of the new trends in technology that will impact your life. Coming soon on Luntha Television, bringing wisdom into your home.
Luntha TV is now on Zuku Channel 51. You can get yourself a Zuku decoder from the Luntha TV offices in Area 2, Lilongwe, and from all the St. Manford bookshops across the country in Kasungu, Lilongwe, Salima, Dedza, Balaka, Zomba, Mulanje, Blantyre, Chikwawa, Mwanza, and Mangochi. For more information, contact 0883 815 055 or 0996 892 965. Get a Zuku decoder today and not miss daily mass, worship and prayers, news bulletins, and so much more on Luntha TV, bringing wisdom into your home.
Thursday, the 23rd of January 2025. Welcome to this another edition of the press review here on Luntha Television. It is a program in which we give you some of the stories that have been published in our daily papers, and that they have the Nation and of course the Daily Times. So this morning you're with me, Bernard Mwanza, and I'm joined by my colleague
Helbert Katanda.
I hope you are doing well this morning.
I'm okay. How are you?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Great.
So we have a number of stories that are appearing in both papers, the Nation, but of course the Daily Times. And the main story on the front page of the Nation, the parties unite against police. MCP joins opposition political groups in calling for better policing. The main story reads, political parties in the country yesterday put aside their differences to demand police action on rising incidents of political violence targeting women. In a rare sight outside Parliament, representatives of the governing Malawi Congress Party shared the same podium with their counterparts from opposition parties, notably DPP, UDF, AFOD, UTM, PP, and PDP during a press conference hosted by the NGO Gender Coordination Network, the Women's Manifesto Movement, and the African Leadership Network, among other generated civil society organizations.
And of course, I would like to render a comment on that. But before I do that, let me just quickly have a look at a certain story which appears on the 4th page of the Daily Times newspaper.
Okay.
It says, IG cautions politicians on gender-based violence. Inspector General of Police Mary Nyolam has called on politicians to avoid using languages that can cause violence ahead of the September 16 local government, parliamentary and presidential elections. Yolam said this at Lekuni Boys Secondary School in Lilongwe yesterday. She made the remarks during the launch of the Malawi Police Service campaign to stop violence against women ahead of the general elections. Well, that's on the other hand. I don't know now who should we point fingers at, because if you take
The
a
other
look
side,
at
women are calling on police
to act swiftly on the violence that have erupted so far, and on the other hand, the police launched
a
a
campaign.
campaign against violence against women ahead of the polls. So siri kudziwa kuti tiloze jalandani.
I think the key thing here is for the police to be acting.
Yeah, true.
Because if they are also worrying or expressing worry that people should not perpetrate violence against women, that means it is neither the women nor the police. That means there are other people outside these two groups who are perpetrating the violence.
Yeah.
So it's their job now as police to come out, to act on whatsoever is happening against these women. Because if they are sleeping on their job, on their duty, that means we will be talking about such violences continuously happening ahead of the elections.
Well,
so quickly, they should be the ones now to be in the forefront, to act against any violence that is happening.
True, because what I see now is I would have loved if the Daily Times newspaper was to indicate whether representatives of all political parties attended the launch. Unfortunately, that has not been indicated. But I believe, I firmly believe that at this launch there were representatives of all political parties, because I don't think the police would talk about elections and sidelining representatives of political parties. So mmene ndikuzoonera apa nkhani yonse yavuta ndi paperwork. Ndikuona kuti zambiri anthu they just speak kuti basi tingooneka kuti kugulu tayankhula and we are against violence.
Because you can
chifukwa ndikukhulupirira kuti awo ama political parties, I believe kuti had it been kuti uku analiko ngati analiko, that was a chance for them to take that message and kukauza Inspector General of Malawi Police. Ndekuti in a similar way, I believe kuti abobo pamene amalankhulapo bweziso atapanga include one of the law enforcing agencies, a representative at least. Bwezi ataitana kandi IG popeza ndi nzimayiso. And that joint conference was done by women in various political parties. So I believe if the Inspector General was to be included, I think bwezirumva mwina nkhani zina akanatha kuyankhana mafunso amene ali nawo. So we believe kuti that's the way to go. All political parties coming together and calling on speaking one voice against violence. I think that's what we are supposed to see. That's the news we love to hear. And also on the police side, for them to launch a campaign against the violence that mainly are perpetrated on women ahead of the polls. I think that's another story.
Let's hope implementation
to comment.
Also work.
However,
issues about implementation.
Implementation of
such decisions being made or being announced, the plans they have, but what comes next is
the implementation.
Because now, imagine if it would be, let's say, MCP connected people doing or perpetrating such violence other parties.
And for them to only arrest those maybe.
Would they work against those who have perpetrated the violence on MCP side? Because we have cases now so far.
True.
In Luntha,
in Luntha,
but we haven't heard much reports. There's no woman here was shot. We haven't heard any report.
We haven't heard any report. So, of course, the police still stands on its area statement, which said, they said, kuchipatala ndikumene anatulutsa report roti sanoberedwe, and they are claiming kuti none of their officers fired a trigger. So ndinkhani yonena zoti somehow it's technical in nature. Komano, we were supposed to see a thorough report on that, a thorough report
coming
of an investigation. According to what we have established so far, none of our officers fired a trigger. I think that's not enough.
So you're going to see, police police, we have had cases in
True.
Directly
and
police.
Now my question would be, okay, if the Democratic Progressive Party is claiming one of our officials was shot to Area 3 police station, now the police coming out and saying you fail, none of our officers fired a trigger. And also, according to the reports we have heard from Kamu Central, it wasn't a bullet wound. Okay, now, if the police are saying that, let them investigate why is the DBB claiming now. If I want that's a story which is political in nature. When clear if that at all was a bullet, so ngati wa police sana bange fire bullet definitely. So that's something we are expecting a full investigation report kwa polisiwa. Unfortunately, questions are there.
Unfortunately, it's something that yes we can expect, but we can't have that.
Yeah, true.
In as far as we know how much or what they do, how much they do their duties in such circumstances. Compromised scenarios like these.
Yeah, true.
It's so hard for them to come out to clear all the speculations, but maybe.
Kwambiri, mwina china so chimene ndimafuna uforokoza ndiyo wabanga warn ma political parties. We know kuti as we draw towards elections, kumabwera ma funding ochuluka. some of the women receive funding from Oxfam, which mainly advocates for women participation in elections. So we know they receive a lot of funding. That's why, and at this period, muzonai mabungu akuti abwera pamodzi agwirizana. It was yesterday when mabungu enaso anabwera pamodzi ndikuyankhulanso against violence nthawi ya chisankho. Nthawi yake ndinoyi. Timadziwa kuti they receive a lot of funding. So mostly they hold such conferences kuti angoonetsa to their donor kuti okay, this is what we have done so far. But sikuti amakhala kuti ambiri samakhala kuti zili muntima mwawo for them to act against violence. So timangofuna kuwauza kunena zoti once you have come out in the limelight ndikuyankhula zokhudza violence and you're saying kuti ifeyo tikudana ndizi apolisi achite izi, we just hope kuti you are going to play your part. And the funding that those people receive muzilandira inde koma mchiro yake muzigwira. Osati kuti tingoona kuti mwayankhula chifukwa chonena zoti mwapeza funding and you sit down and wait for another day that you are going to receive funding ndikukachita so hot conference. No, khalani basi chitani act ndekuti chimene ineyo ndiku ngati munthu ngati nzika dziko la Malawi yokhudzidwa because I'm also against violence.
Yes.
So what I believe, what I hope to see in the near future ndiyokuti I will see those political parties holding a conference in the abolisi remote. Okay, this is what we have done so far. Last image we just called on the police to act, commando through media. But no one day we have done it officially.
All right. Moving on, pressure mounts on Macra to hot IT deal. Partly the story reads, pressure is piling on Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority Macra to stop the procurement of a 2.6 billion kwacha machine meant to deal with misinformation and disinformation on digital platforms. In a letter dated January 17th to Macra Board and Governmental Organizations Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation and Youth and Society have queried Macra's intention to award the contract to Hashcom Ghana Limited. The contract is for the supply, delivery, installation, commissioning and testing of an integrated system to track misinformation and disinformation trends in Malawi when the country is facing economic challenges.
Well, I was following that issue. I followed keenly what the Director General of Macra said, and I also followed some of the developments that forced them to hold a conference on Monday. I was interested to see with the Hashcom Limited, Ghana Limited, that company, and I Ghana that trace by Facebook. It shows the not more than 2 followers per Facebook. So we don't know if at all that's the official page of the company. Komano, I believe nowadays business starts online. Ngarali ndi follower mods per Facebook. Usiti kudziwa kuti okay, I don't really know kuti chingakhale dijoona chifukwa that's the concern of anthu organization chingakhale dijoona komanso if it only has 1 follower on Facebook, should we say kuti it's a company that has been existing all along kapena it's just something that has been created chifukwa jonena zoti they want to get a certain deal from government? So anthu mafuso amakhala ngati amene kuti no akuluakulu chikhala kuti company matere mwina tikanayiona nkale lonse ikuchita operate mwina pa Facebook komanso mwina page yawo yomwe zili ndi followers ambiri. Therefore tikuganizira kuti all the procurement processes will be followed. Chifukwa munthu akakuuza kuti tiziti mwasojera nkulinga wina atakuuza amatero pachichewa ukasojera nkulinga wina atakuuza ukamapita kumalo you don't necessarily know kuti komwe ndikupitaku ndasojera in as far as you don't know the place. So for you to know that I am in the wrong direction, that means someone has to tell you. Nde tikukamba choncho mwasojera nkulinga wena atakuuzani. So zimene akulankhula anthu kuti ikumakla kuzatere mwina mutayipanga heart ndikupanga ndikufufuza bwino za company imeneyi zisathere padwale anthu mwamve zisathere padwale kumangrapo chifukwa ndizotheka kuti zomwe akukamba anthu zozikhoza kukhala zoona. We don't want you to tell us tsiku lina lake kuti that company has disappeared. So we have sent the Attorney General to Ghana to talk with the government that the government of the Ghanaian country.
The main concern of the people here is on the utilization of such resources.
Yeah, true.
At a time that Malawi is facing economic challenges. Drama izizi chifukwa tusuta zafuna magwacha. Company
njakunja
idzafuna ndeli 2.6 billion dollars.
Idzafuna
imene ndi 1.5 million US dollars.
Yeah.
Kuti ipite kumene kwa walipire. Kuti iwo akapange zothekera kuti contract yo ndithu ioneke kuti anthu agwira ntchito.
Yeah, agwira ntchito.
Tukamba kale kuti ngati dziko tikumavutika nkhani za ndalama zakunja. Kuti ndalama zonsezi Papa sitidzaliranso ndife kuti tilibenso forex
just for makina oti azikita
kodi is it a necessity for now because ena kukamba kuti mwina akungofuna kulimbana ndi anthu amene akuoneka kuti mbali ina akulimbana kwambiri
akulimbana ndi boma. Yeah, I was I had the similar thoughts. Ndimaganiza kuti okay now if because what the Director General of Macra said is ngakhale dziko likuvutika komabe zinthu zina zake zimene aziziyenda. Now I was thinking with okay if we procure that machine ndikubweretsa kunoku ku Malawi and start regulating the social media or whatever kodi ndekuti zitithandiza kuchani. Okay, should we say kuti misinformation is tremendous ku Malawi kunoku more than hunger is chifukwa okay ndizomvetsetseka kuti we are supposed to go digital komano misinformation iyo is it the thing that is leading us to hunger kabena is it something which is making most of the kabena the high cost of living
mwina tifuse kuti kodi misinformation ndi disinformation kamba
kupereka uthenga olakwika
kwa kusokoneza chuma
patsamba la mchezo mainly patsamba la mchezo chifukwa sanga ndikukhulupirira sanga pange regulate inu ndine kukauzana maluwa kumudzi kudowa kuti yayi chakuti sichikwenda bwino chifukwa chakuti yayi sanga pange regulate tithokawo bodza mmene tufunira iwo sathoka kutuza bodza mmene zinthu akuzimvera komano mainly pa social media. Yeah,
kodi kukusokoneza mbali mwina atabwera so kilion ndati izi zikusokoneza chuma kapena izi
zikusokoneza chakuti
ya mankhwala mzipatala izi zikutulisa fedeleza misinformation ikusokoneza mote
akanati afotokoze zimene zozo. I think for us to say okay now go on and procure the machine tikanatha kungolankhula osawinya kena kalikose koma tikuwinya chifukwa tikuganiza kuti government ili ndi zambiri zoti ichite on their table.
Kani ma priorities.
Nde mukatengera mazosezo tukapanga procure
alizina zake zikonzofunika ziyende yes. Koma kodi those things are they priorities for the country? Kodi ngati dziko pakati panjala munthu akuvutika ndi njala munthu ena kumwalira chifukwa kusowa zakudya zoyenera
ndi machine
opanga
regulate mabodza pa WhatsApp
social media ndi anthu angati
ndanthu ochepa. Yes, we are saying we are going digital.
Yes.
Komano if you go kumudzi kwa safarao kundilande and ask kuti kunoku amene ali ndi phone ya ali ndi smartphone ndani kapena amene ali ndi amapanga access Facebook and all social media platforms ndi ndani ukapeze kuti mwina pa anthu 20 anthu amene akuzidziwa ndi awiri
olopita kwa malembo komwe
anthu awiriwo ndi kuti mmodziyo ali ndi smartphone koma zinthu amachitiridwa ayi ndikufuna kuti nditatumiza chakuti takapatseni nyamata ozindikira anapita college mmodzimodzi
so sima priorities inde tikufunikira zinthu ngati zimenezi koma for now we need to prioritize zinthu zimene zingathandize miyoyo
ya Malawi
tukamba nkhani ya njala tukamba mwina ndalama ngati zimenezi kuzipititsa kufereleza kali kasabuside kenako
tangopeza ni ngongole sikuti tikuletsa kuti agule komano adzagula koma this is not a good timing. That's what we are saying.
Iyo time ndimene pamene papa ndithu ikuoneka kuti yajawani kuti sinthawe yabwino kuti pange zinthu inde ndizofunika
chomvetsa chisoni china nchokuti there is this story on the front page of the Daily Times about the government in fuel headache. There is a subheadline which says 80 trucks are needed daily, 17 available. Transporters blame Swahili handlers, and of course partly the story says the government has attributed hiccups that are being faced in fuel supply processes to shortage of certified fuel tankers in the country. This comes at a time motor users have started scrambling for fuel again after the problem seemed to have eased last week. Inena akanduza munthu ankanduzayo ndinene pano kuti sinimankhulupirira zomwe amanenazo. That was last week when fuel stabilized and manenazo kuti ababa zakhaliratu ndipo zikateremu I don't think kuti boma lingakhaleso pasa apapa kuti okay tilipaize chifukwa choti fuel angopezeka koma ndikukhulupirira kuti china chilichonse chimene akuchiona ngati kuti ndi chotsamwitsa akhoza kuchikonzeratu nthawi imeneyi so ndimawuza kuti papa zakhala zatheka basi. Yo anandoza kuti munama tionanso after 2 days kuti hayi chinzere hayi chakuti so sindimakhulupirira koma tsiku la lero poona nkhani imeneyi ndakhulupiriratu to anganena zija ndizoona ndipo zikuoneka ngati nkhani ya fuel ntchito ikadalipo ngati sitifika mpaka September nthawi yovota fuel ali on and off ndi mwayi chifukwa there seems to be no tangible solution to a lot of challenges which are faced in this sector. Kunokma ku mera ndazi zawo zikuonetsa ngati kuti kulipeka solution kokhazikika kuonera kuti
organiza ngati mbali ina makhala chimpulirano pakachiteka zinthu osafuna kudzichepetsa anthu kuti amve mwina maganizo aena ena kumangodzitenga kuti ineyo ndine ndiponzopanga is
last time there was this story ankanena zoti okay if we are changing from the previous system we were using to G2G, government to government, that means kuti ma transporter those people amene amagatenga fuel those who were contracted under that system, that previous system akuti ndeziwathela bwanji anawafusa anthu anokma so the qualification of nokma was musavutike sikuti anthu amenewo of course we still have fuel amene akubwera under that system so they will be working on that and their contracts expire nkati kandi mu February kandi mu March or April something like that so ananena zoti okay until their contracts expire and then kuti ifeyo tidzaona kuti tichite bwanji
koma ya transportation mbali ina chimene ndikumvetsa ine nchonera kuti pali frustration pakati pa ma transporters ena kuti mwina chifukwa mwina ena zimatheka kugwira nawo ntchito mwina pangongole kumene tandizeni tife tikupakambe nthawi but now you can't trust them when you can't give them that business that kind of business any longer because they are frustrated kuti alichotsera ngodi and you have also to understand kuti nthawi zina akuti masystem ngati amenewo pamakhalanso madobadoba amene amakhala in between ndithu kuti alongosole zinthu they are also frustrated so to have that link kuti zinthu ziyende smoothly ndi transition imene achitika ija ichoka ku system ina
ndibovuta
pala anthu angapo ndithu we are reading reports kuti some other stakeholders are frustrated kuti atiphera chani
atiphera msika.
so
Yeah.
you see kuti there is a need to have a win-win solution kuti ngati dziko lizipeza mafuta komanso kuthekera kuti ma transporters
azichita transport
masuka
china chimene chimavuta kuboma not only not focusing on this regime ndichionena zoti once you work with government on a certain contract umapezeka kuti for them to pay you boma kuti likulipire so
that's another challenge. Going to the last part of the newspapers, newly promoted teams yet to decide on coaches. That's the sports story in the Nation. 3 newly promoted TNM Super League teams, Songwe Border United of Karonga, Ekaya United of Luntha, and Longwe Blue Eagles are yet to decide on coaches as teams gear up for pre-season. Songwe Border and Ekaya are hunting for new coaches as those that led them to their respective regional titles do not have the required CAF B coaching license as per club licensing requirements.
All right, and of course on arts and culture page in the Daily Times newspaper, UMP Music Awards back. The minimum it was held lastly it was held I think in 2020. So they are saying with Chaga 2025 they are coming back with a bang. But of course Kosoma Farmer Brainstorm Agosoma Gomaswa Films Association of Malawi, they are having talks on how better they can uplift the film industry in Malawi. I think they are looking at ways on how the Kosoma can be distributing my royalties. So that's another good development. And of course more artist eye parliament. A number of creatives have expressed interest in contesting as member of parliament ahead of the general elections on September 16, 2025.
All right, that also concludes this edition of the press review here on Luntha today, Thursday, the 3rd of January, 2025. Thanks so much for being there. You have been with me, Brenna Dumanza, and my colleague,
Helbert Gatanda.
And the program returns again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Continue watching the rest of our programs. Good morning.